This is Rip the Fence.
Call me Big Daddy.
Presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Time for yeah, you damn right I got time out there.
Also brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Welcome to episode 87 of Rip the Fence, the third quarantine version, and we're getting freaking tired of it. Awesome to have Ripper in here, baby. Rip Jetson, the Flea Ruzic. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. How you guys doing? You guys surviving?
Oh, gosh.
Barely. Some of us better than others.
What do you got, Dylan? You got, what, a dog you've been training? And
yeah, a dog and a girlfriend and a new house.
Yep. That's a dog, girlfriend, house. That's trifecta.
It is. You got the triple threat there.
Yeah. She making lunch right now, or?
I actually made myself the official bachelor's lunch of a fried bologna sandwich earlier today. So really living up here.
It's bold move.
Yeah.
What about you, Tyler?
Oh, I'm trying to survive. I need some methanol, burning methanol in my life, some dirt in the eyes, but this is getting crazy, man. I haven't seen – you haven't gotten on iRacing or anything, have you?
No, I don't my rig's still got R Factor downloaded on it, so no iRacing for me. I actually looked into it the other day, and I was going to upgrade the computer on the simulator I have and redo some things on it, but I'm kind of busy doing so many other things. I don't have much time to just play, between the stuff we build here or, working on the race cars. Like right now, the last couple of weeks, we've been pretty hot and heavy on the race car trader, trying to get everything organized in there and redo the pit cart and stuff like that. We're foaming all the drawers, making it all look nice and neat and pretty. And so we're kind of taking advantage of the downtime doing that before everything starts up, and we don't have time to do it. You're racing out of it and it's a mess again. And so I'm not much on video games anyway. I got an arcade game at my house, got Donkey Kong Jr. and all that stuff, Space Invaders. So I'm more of an 80s gamer. I don't know if I'm man, when Dylan texted me yesterday and said we was going to Zoom this deal, I had to call my daughter and see what Zoom was. I'm not a big tech person, I mean, if I can do it with my hands, I could do it no problem. But if I got to do a computer or modern technology, I gotta learn it for a bit. So that's how that.
That's crazy. I told Dylan that if you can build a race car, you can probably figure out Zoom.
Yeah. What took me? It took me a few minutes to download the app, and then I called my daughter. She told me how it all worked. I'm like, well, it's just like iMessaging or FaceTime. So I'm like, well, why wouldn't they just FaceTime me? That seems so much simpler. Now I got to open an account. I got to get a password. I got to do an email. It's like you guys took something that was like really simple and then just made it. You guys should work for the government. You took a simple process, made it difficult. You guys got big government careers ahead of you.
Yeah.
Man.
I think it's because we have to record it. We can't record it on FaceTime, right, Ty?
No, I don't think so. I've never used this Zoom deal until we started doing this either.
Yep.
It's crazy. So what have you been building? You have some things you can show us?
Yeah, actually we got some repair stuff here. This here was a car that got flipped in Florida, and we repaired this thing a couple of weeks ago, or actually a week or so ago. And then we got a deal here we built for Scott Ronk, and that's going to go to Kokomo, Indiana here in a couple of weeks, or probably a week or so. I'm waiting on stuff to get made for it. I need, like the glass surround and stuff that goes around it. A lot of places are closed down, so getting some of the things done for them is pretty tough right now. And then we have a guitar here that's waiting on some nameplates to get made for it, and it will end up in Nashville, Tennessee, to a company that does a lot of work for Gibson guitars.
That is
and then we just started on this thing here for Brad Doty, which will be the Gary Stanton 75 car. I don't know if it shows up real good or not, but I'm building that thing there for Brad Doty.
When you build those, do you have like any sort of like jig or like things that, you know, can measure those out and cut those? I mean, how do you do like molds or anything, or like how do you build those?
Everything is just freehand. Here, I'll turn around here again. I start out with just some rough drawings on a table. This here would be kind of the rough drawing of I don't know if you guys seen the thing that I built for Emmett Hahn that they gave him at the Chili Bowl that was half of the Expo Center.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Rich Vogler's winning car on that. So that would have been the drawing that I made for that. But basically, when I do that, I'll take common things on a car, like wheelbase, okay? Like on Brad Doty's sprint car, I called Gary Stanton the other day, and he said it was an 8640 car. So I'll scale the wheelbase, and then I know how tall a sprint car frame is, so I'll take all that. So basically, I'll come up with a multiplier number, and on the Doty car, it's 9.45. So if I take everything, real measurements on the car, and divide it by 9.45, I can get my scale measurements that I need. So, say like an 86-inch wheelbase divided by 945 would be, like 9 1/8 inches on the replica that I'm building. So I try to look at common materials, whether it be the down tube size or front axle or tire and wheel, and I look at common materials that I can get, and I try to make those work, and I'll scale everything around, say 1/4 inch rod that I use for the down tube, or 3/16 or whatever it is. So trying to keep the scale accurate is probably the key to any of that, making it look right.
When did you start making those things?
I started making them, it was, I had a couple of buddies that we go to lunch with like every Monday. And, there's a guy in Indianapolis, Cold Hard Art, and he showed me, hey, this guy made a sprint car or whatever. I'm like, man, that's really cool. So about a year or so ago in downtime, you build race cars every day, or you build bumpers or axles, and you get sick of the repetitiveness of it, I like building things, but I hate building the same thing over and over again. Once I built, say I built a new midget or a sprint car, once I built 2 or 3 of them, I'm over it. Somebody else can build the rest of them. And, I like moving on to, evolving and doing new things. So I come in here for a couple of weeks, and I thought, man, I'm going to try to build me a little miniature midget, kind of like what the Cold Hard Art guy did. And it was a process for me. I didn't, welding stuff isn't a big deal, but I've never worked with anything that small or tried to scale anything like that. So it took me, a couple of days, and I built a frame. Like, man, the frame looks cool. Now I got to do a motor. So then you just start visualizing all the parts and what works, what doesn't work. And the biggest process for me was building the tires and wheels. Like, how do I make a tire? So your conventional wisdom is, well, you just take a solid chunk. Well, finding a piece of 3 or 4 inch round solid steel is not really easy. And when you do find it, it weighs 50 pounds. Now you got to chuck it up in a lathe, machine it up. So I figured out how to make the tires where they're actually hollow. I think I have some. I'll walk back over here.
Wow.
But if you can see that tire's actually hollow. So I take and make a sidewall and take a piece of like 3-inch exhaust tubing and cut it the right width, and I weld a sidewall to it. I made some dies to stamp out the sidewall, and we'll weld it up and then stick it in a lathe and polish it off, and now you've made a hollow tire. And then if you take a piece of copper or steel or anything, you can kind of flare it and you can kind of drop it down through there and make a wheel. Then you come up with a wheel center or whatever, and there you have it. You're back in business. But making the tires and wheels was a learning process, and then you got to figure out how to make a fuel tank. So everything. It took me about 2 months to make the very first one, and then as I posted some pictures of it. Well, people wanted to buy them, so you think, well, cool, I can make some money doing something I like doing also. So I built, when I started the deal, I just wanted to build 15 of them and be done. And as far as customers go, I've only built, I think, 11 so far. So there's still a couple more to finish off the deal. And we've done a couple things for trophies, whether it be the Hangtown race or the deal we built for Emmett Hahn or whatever. We've done a couple of, just commission pieces where, they want a certain thing for a certain purpose. So I still enjoy doing that. I like repairing stuff. We get cars in here that are bent up and wrecked. And, the worse it's tore up, the more I like it. So to me, the challenge is fixing something or doing something that somebody says isn't possible. So, I kind of like doing that. I'll take and get them straight, cut everything out of it that needs cut out, and then I'll send it down the line and have somebody else, replace the tubes that need done. Or, once I see the light at the end of the tunnel, I'm pretty good. I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
How many guys do you have working in your shop?
Usually it's me and another person all the time. Usually sometimes 2 other people. And then when we get real busy, I'll have a couple of welders in here in the evenings also. So all of us are racers. So we we work around that. Some people come in. I had Joey Mohan did a lot of welding for me. When we was really, really busy, he'd come in here and he'd work about every night, to make extra money to go racing on. Or I have a buddy that I raced quarter midgets with years ago, and he comes up here every Tuesday and works all day. It's his day off at a different job. So, throughout the course of the year, there's 4 or 5 different people that work all the time, but usually there's 2 to 3 all the time around here.
Well, we talked to you in Ocala, and you had Jesse Colwell and Logan Seavey in your cars. That place is pretty challenging, that racetrack, but it seems like it was an eternity away. You told me that you might be running the points. You wanted to see how, well you guys were doing by the time you got to, 4 or 5 races in.
Yeah.
But obviously it stalled out, and we don't really know what's going to happen.
Right. Jesse, my partner on the stuff, Steve Reynolds, he likes Jesse. Last year at the end of the year when we lost McDougal, we kind of hopped around and put a couple of different drivers in. And then it got to the point where, sometimes you don't get to pick the soldiers that you want when you go to war. So, you take the army you have and you make the most of it. And at the end of the year last year, I woke up one morning and I knew we had a race at Macon or Little Belleville or something like that. And I'm like, I didn't really have a driver. Leary was gone doing something else. I think he had a USAC race. And so I woke up and I just went through my phone and all the past Belleville results. I looked at who was the best finishing driver that was available to me. And I went over the last 5 races, and Jake Newman had the highest average finish of any driver that wasn't taken. So I just played the numbers on that, and I called his dad and said, you think Jake would be interested? I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. And he messaged Jake. Jake messaged me, and we put him in, and we did pretty decent. But, starting this year, Jesse didn't have a ride. Steve likes Jesse. I like Jesse. So we thought, well, we'll run him. And then when we were going to Florida, Logan texted me, and he didn't have a ride either. And so I'm dragging a car down there. I can drag 2 cars down, no problem. So we ran Logan there. We didn't do very good. But, you know, I mean, it's just what it is. It's, you know, I can't place, you know, where we could have made up at, or, you know, it's either, it's like you go to Ocala, you're either good there or you're not. And we just wasn't good. And I looked at, you know, Logan didn't do good the first night. Then I looked back last year and like, well, he ran like 8th or 10th the first night in Keith's car last year. So, you know, but he ran really well there the following week in the sprint car. So, you know, sometimes you throw the stuff in the trailer and you move on. You know, you just leave it there. You don't beat yourself up trying to figure out what's right or wrong. Some nights you unload and everything it goes good and you're fast right out of the box, and other nights you struggle and you'll continue to struggle all night sometimes, you know. So
Yeah.
Do you like when you like, so like all the Powri tracks are obviously, you know, kind of little bull rings, and then USAC tracks, most of them, you know, are kind of bigger sweeping race tracks. What do you prefer? I mean, and even like given your background, you know, as a racer yourself and, you know, growing up in Illinois, like there's a lot of bull rings, and that's where it seems like your guys' cars go really well. It's on those little tight places.
yeah, you know, I don't really have a preference on the track. I know the smaller tracks are a lot more economical to run. I think when we went to Ocala, we ended up, we burned up like $2,800 worth of tires, you know, just to go to Ocala. And, you know, it doesn't pay any more than it does to run Little Belleville or Macon, or, you know, you go to a place like Kokomo, and, you know, that's a pretty fast class place. I think we're pretty good there. You don't burn up tires and stuff at Kokomo. You know, I like a lot of the Indiana tracks. Lawrenceburg, I think Lawrenceburg gets a little bit big for midgets. Peevely, we ran good at Peevely with Leary. We led most of the race, and Rico got us at the end on a restart. But I don't have really a preference on the size of the track. I think smaller tracks produce better racing, probably all around for the fans. But then again, you know, I've seen races at Eldora where they throw monster sliders, you know, back and forth, and produces a really good race too. So, you know, I know the smaller tracks, you kind of set yourself up. You know, you're just waiting for somebody to throw the slider on you, you know, and take a car out or tear something up. You know, it's just it's a product of short track racing. So, you know, we run, you know, probably the last, you know, 6 or 7 years, I've done more Powri racing than USAC racing. So, you know, I know a lot of those tracks a little bit better, but, you know, I don't have a preference where we go race. I don't think, you know, I think if you got a good driver and the mechanic that's working good together, I don't think it matters what size the track is or anything else. It's you know, say, you know, when I ran Logan Seavey a couple of years ago, he was new to midgets. We just went out and we raced, and we clicked, you know. And when we went to Ocala, it's not that we don't get along, we don't click anymore. We just have to relearn each other. Well, when you take somebody that's, you know, when I first had Logan, he didn't know anything, so everything was new to him, and it was he didn't have any good habits, bad habits, or anything. He just hopped in the car and drove. So, you know, now he's a lot more accomplished. He knows a little bit more what he wants, and now it's might be a little bit harder for me to find, you know, what he wants to, or get him that feeling that he wants. You know, we was going to try to run the Turnpike Challenge in Oklahoma. We was going to do that, and I think we'd have been really good there. We just didn't get to do it yet. But sometimes, you know, you hit drivers in a point where everybody's on the same page and you just click and everything goes good. And then other times, you know, just, you know, nothing lasts forever, you know. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it clicks, sometimes it doesn't. You know, when it doesn't click, it's very hard to force it and make it happen. You know, you can put up with each other and get along and try to get the job done, but when it happens natural, it happens a lot more often.
Mm-hmm. I was extremely impressed with you guys at the Chili Bowl this year. Colwell nearly made the A, and then Justin Allgaier, for the first time in like 7 years, made the feature for you guys. What was that moment like?
You know, it was good. I was happy Justin made the A main. Jesse, I think, Jesse, he never drove one of our cars before. And, the brakes on our cars, we run Smith brakes on them. And Jesse had to learn the brakes. He said, man, when I go in there, he kept spinning out. He'd go in there and he'd hit the brakes, and it just locked the car up. So, he had to learn that. He said everything felt good. On our preliminary night, he started at the back and got, he was within the top 10, I think, in the feature at the time. And him and Parker Price got together on a restart and got upside down, went to the back, limped the car back home. Had we been able to finish the feature how we was doing, we probably would have been, in the first couple of rows of a B main, and that would have made a big difference. He raced good, just some unfortunate circumstances. Allgaier, we've run him for a couple of years now, and 2 years ago he ran third on his prelim night for 24 3/4 laps, and he got into 3 and 4 coming to the checkered and hooked the berm, or hooked the cushion in 3 and 4. And turned it over. So that put him at 18th. That put him in D main, a couple years ago. So, coming out of the D main, even the guy that's running 14th on the checkered flag lap, thinks he's still got a chance to put it in the A. So they tear equipment up. I've never seen a place like that. Where people that are running at noon on Saturday are going for broke on the last lap with no, chance of getting anywhere. But it happens in that building. But anyway, Justin did good this year. Every time we put it on the track, he was comfortable. Our prelim night, he actually got going good on the bottom, and I thought, man, there's a chance. He was snuck underneath everybody, for second place with the lead right when the yellow come out, and then took us a couple laps to get fired off and going again. So he ran like 6th, I think, on his prelim, and run like 3rd, I think, in the B main, got in the A main, and then we had a tire go down partway through the race. So that didn't help out there. But
yeah, no question. Well, we talked about it, I think, in our second episode of the season, that there was a chance Dylan was going to get into one of your cars.
Yep.
That probably is not going to happen. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen, Dylan. Your schedule for TV is probably going to be crazy when we go back to racing, I would assume.
Yeah, I honestly don't even really know what my schedule is going to be, but I would still love to run one of your cars, Flea, so we'll make it happen sooner or later.
Definitely. I don't know. I talked to Kenny Brown the other day, and it's still, there's no certain deal for anything. I mean, everybody's kind of waiting to see when they can up. I mean, we're all living in the same world right now, so.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. That's the hardest part even for me too. It's like go out and try and sell sponsors. You don't even really know when you're going to be able to race. Yeah. Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's unreal. I've never lived through a time like this where you even go to the grocery store. I mean, it's really awkward just to walk to the grocery store now. I mean, people are coming at you and they're diving out of the way, and some people have masks on, some people don't have masks. One person might be holding the place up. You don't know. I mean, it just it's really it's an awkward feeling to be out in public sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty unreal.
If you want to clear out the grocery line, just sneeze real loud.
Yeah, that's what dude that works for me here. He was talking about he went into Menards yesterday and he was paying for something, and he said he had to cough, and he's like, man, I was trying to hold it. I said, well, how deep in line was you? Just cough out loud, clear the line out, go up and take your pace, But it's a different environment. As far as eating and stuff, we eat out every night at my house. I don't have time to cook. She doesn't have time to cook. We're not good cooks to begin with. So every night we hit Texas Roadhouse or, Olive Garden, something like that. And that stuff's all closed. I actually, about 2 weeks ago, I went home and I took the station wagon and I told Michelle, I said, we're going to call the Texas Roadhouse. We're going to carry out and we'll put some chairs and a table in the station wagon. We're going to eat it in the parking lot so it's fresh. Because by the time you get home, it's not good anyway. It's cold. So we called the Roadhouse and they didn't have anything in stock. They had steak. They didn't have potatoes. So they didn't have this. We didn't even get to do that. So we ended up going to the grocery store, another awkward moment, and then went home and cooked steaks on the grill. But it's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is. Well, we appreciate you joining us, man. It was fun to talk to you and get to look around your shop and some of the projects you're working on. Our listeners always enjoy talking to you and hearing from you. So it's cool to have you on.
I'll show you a couple other things we got. We got a couple of new sprint car frames waiting for some laser cut pieces. A couple of midgets going. But this right here, we're building this here. It's going to be a yard cart for a guy. It's going to be a vintage midget. And it's going to be a yard cart. It's going to have a 13-horse motor on it.
That's awesome.
Try to make everything kind of pretty accurate looking. And then this thing here, I don't know how well you can see it, but that's a 1976 Bull Taco Astro flat track motorcycle. And we probably build about 20 of those over the course of a year, and they get shipped all over the world. We just had one a couple weeks ago that went to Paris. Somebody in France, apparently, I guess they race flat track bikes there too. So we do a little bit of everything here.
That's awesome.
That's really cool, dude. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man. We appreciate it. Get back to work and stay safe during this time.
All right. Everybody stay safe, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Flea.
You, man.
Yep.
Sir, are you aware you were going 40 miles an hour? This is a residential area.
Sure, but I'm on my lawnmower? Wait, am I getting a ticket?
No, I've just never seen anyone top 9 miles an hour on one of those bad boys. And mow their entire lawn in 30 seconds? What got into you?
Well, it did fuel up at Sunoco this morning.
At Sunoco, we know how to fuel peak performance. We've been doing it for American racing for over 50 years. Fuel your best.
Citywide to countryside. Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. Go to HerculesTire.com. There you can find the nearest authorized Hercules retail location to you. Plus, you can use the tire tracker to find out which Hercules tire fits your vehicle the best. That's HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
That was Flea Ruzic, one of our most popular episodes when we had Flea on. He's always entertaining, always funny, and very good at what he does, which is building shit.
Yeah, it's just fun to always see what he's working on. He's always got something new to tinker on or build or weld or put together. So pretty cool. Excuse me.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, well, let's do some hat shakes real quick before we get out of here. I'm going to give my hat shake to you for doing the USAC race buck naked the other night on iRacing. Tell us about that.
Well, I don't know. We got home. We had been out all day and got home, and I was like running late and jumped in the shower and then jumped out and had to go get on the race. So I just didn't have any time to even really put clothes on. So I just sat in the room and did the race.
So the next time you hear Dylan calling the race on Flow Racing for USAC, he will most likely be buck naked.
No, I think that may have been a one-time thing, right? So Matty D raced in his underwear, and I had to one-up him. I called a race naked. So
that's awesome. Hat shake to you. What about you? What do you got?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I hate to always talk about the e-racing or the iRacing deal, the sim racing deal, but man, maybe I'm in the minority here because I see everybody complain on Twitter a whole lot, but I think it's cool that we've got all this iRacing stuff going on, that we've got these sim races going on. Like, I enjoy getting to, for me, I've enjoyed getting to call USAC races again, or at least, announce the USAC names, going out there racing against each other. So I guess I'll give mine to iRacing because I like it. I've enjoyed, nothing beats the real thing, but I've enjoyed, getting to watch all these races and all these different drivers drive different cars than they normally do and stuff. I think it's been cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Dyson Persley won the $2,020?
Yep.
And then I think Anton Hernandez finished second in that race. So that was cool. They've had some good races there with USAC. So it's been fun to watch. I agree with you. I think Steve Myers and those guys are doing a good job at iRacing of staying relevant at this time and growing that business at iRacing. It's been awesome. Before we go, we need to thank Jared from pristineauction.com for giving us our very own registration code, RIP. Sign in using the registration code RIP on pristineauction.com and you get a free $10. And right now, money is tight. $10 is nice to have, Dylan Welch.
Yes, it is. I'd take $10 right now.
I'll take $10 right now, too, as well. So it's awesome to have partners like pristineauction.com and Hercules Tires and O'Reilly to support us. Again, RIP. Use the registration code on pristineauction.com. All right, we'll come back with Dale Jr.'s 88 episode next week. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, or Dale Jarrett's 88.
That's what we should have gave the hashtag to Junior for finishing third in the IndyCar race.
How about that? He's a natural.
Yeah. He's a natural, but all right. Have fun, Dylan. Talk to you next week. It'll be awesome.
All right. See you then.